Morning world, it's about 11 a.m. It's Friday morning, the 2nd of February 2017. That eclipse of the moon a couple of days ago, it hit a lot of people really hard. Health issues, a lot of people panicking, a few people having some really difficult times. The influence of this is effectively over, although the reverberation and echoes will last, and I'm honestly believing that much of the stuff that happened over this last week is the start of a 6-month period which won't conclude until the next total eclipse of the moon, exactly conjunct retrograde Mars, on the 27th of July this year. So this is a 6-month cycle, and in that 6-month cycle a lot of things can happen. This is a great time to be beginning something that concludes in 6 months from now. And the eclipse, alleged eclipse, that's coming up in 2 weeks' time, I don't buy into it. No one's actually going to see it. The penumbra of the sun may be very slightly tinged at one corner, but the North Node is so far away from the sun and the moon that I don't consider this an eclipse at all, and I'd be astonished if anyone tells me they've seen any sign of it on planet. Now, our moon. Firstly, of all the planets in the solar system, every planet has moons, apart from Mercury and Venus. And yet, only one planet can actually see its moon from the surface of that planet, and that is planet Earth. We are the only planet that can see its moon from the surface of our planet. And our moon is on average something like just over 250,000 miles away from us, whereas the sun is on average about 92 million miles away from us. Excuse me. Therefore, the sun is about 360 times further away from the Earth than the moon is. And of course the sun is about 360 times wider than the moon is in terms of equatorial distance. So the ratios here are perfect, and this is the only way we have eclipses. If that ratio were not precise, we would not get total eclipses of the sun or the moon. It's only because the sun is 360 times bigger than the moon and 360 times further away from the moon that we get total eclipses. Also, the moon spins on its axis once every 29 days, something like that. As a result, the same face of the moon is always facing planet Earth. We never see the other side of the moon except from satellite pictures, spacecraft, etc. Now, when I add all these facts together, the ratio of the Earth to the sun, the fact that we only ever see one face of the moon, and that we're the only planet that can see our moon, it makes me wonder here as to the nature of coincidence. Statistically, the chances of this being coincidence, all three of these things put together, plus many other factors of the moon, which I'm not talking about, it's astronomical, literally astronomical, in terms of statistical potential for coincidence. It's not coincidence. Now, what this means, I don't know, but it does suggest that the placing of the moon in orbit around the Earth, its distance from the Earth relative to its distance from the sun, and the fact that its face is always facing the Earth, one face is always facing the Earth, is not random. Now, what this means, I don't know. I would choose not to get into celestial mechanics in that context, but as many of you have noticed before, I've done quite a few videos on celestial geometry, and I can effectively prove that the placing of the planets in the heavens, their orbital distance from Earth, and their rotational period, their orbital period, is also not random, because the patterns that they make are so pristinely perfect that coincidence just isn't an option here. And this does point to a much greater plan at work. And as Terence McKenna says, human history represents such a break with the systems of biological organisation that preceded it. But it must be something absolutely different. And he says it's some response to some type of emanation or magnet from the future that's putting us forward into some type of evolution or acceleration. That's as may be. I choose to believe it, but I'm not dumping that belief on you guys. But it does seem to me that there's a lot more to the nature of the solar system than we can currently explain through logic, rational, analytical science. And unless a lot of scientists are going to turn around to me and say, yes, it's all just perfect coincidence that these mathematically perfections are in our heavens, and then I'll look at them and say, no, they're not, then I do choose to believe, of my own free will, that there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. And one day, there's going to be a revelation. I just hope it's in the space of my lifetime. So, just a little bit of interesting conundrums to tantalise you with today. And finally, only for those people in the UK, I'm afraid, I'm really sorry about this, but go and see the new movie Early Man. I laughed from the moment it started to the moment it finished. It's hilarious. If you loved Wallace and Gromit, you'll love Early Man. That's it for today. Catch you later, world. Bye.